I was reading Stephen King's The Stand a couple weeks ago, and I had to stop at book one and move to something else because, well, the first 400 pages is very much this slow burn towards the end of the world, and we get a close-up look of the book's main characters losing their loved ones, grieving over them while the world is falling apart. When COVID first hit, I was reading a whole bunch of books, fiction and nonfiction, about epidemics and viruses and misinformation, but even I needed a break from this. So I'm back on the bandwagon with book 2 of The Stand. There's 3 books, by the way, of this book, and it's a whole other beast. While book 1 was the introduction of the main characters and their lives being upended by the superflu, book 2 is them traveling across the country, finding themselves pulled by supernatural forces to Boulder City, Colorado. The first book was like a conspiracy thriller, while book 2 is a character piece, and oh boy, the characters. I think someone like Harold in the book is the Stephen King equivalent of someone getting reminded of old cringy Facebook posts we made 10 years ago, and reading it now you think, did I really write that? Was that who I was back then? What idiot let 16-year-old me near a computer? I think book 2 of The Stand is some of King's best writing. Book 1 we're told and shown and told again who these characters are, so now that that was established and everyone is in Boulder City, all the characters need to do is talk, and we'll have a concrete idea of who Stu Redman is, Fran Goldsmith, Harold, Nadine, etc., etc. It's like the second season of a good TV show after a rocky and awkward first season. That being said, some of that awkwardness from book 1 still finds its way to book 2, just less of it. Characters sometimes stop what they're doing and talk about Jeopardy for half a page. We still get long-winded explanations to remind us who these characters are. It's not really needed anymore. And the racial part. Still can't deny the fact that this is supposed to be a big, overarching, grand epic of America and all of its people. And the only character in this book that doesn't look like me is an incredibly old African-American woman whom is less of a character in her own right and more of a supernatural conduit for all the goodness of humanity. In book 2, we're introduced to Joe. He's a feral child whom improves in the story, but whenever he refers back to being animalistic, violent, or non-responsive, his eyes are described multiple times in the book as Chinese eyes. Couldn't use a better word to describe him, could you, Stephen? It does make Joe the closest this book has to an Asian American character. I still got book 3 to go, and about 200 pages left. So far, I'm enjoying the reading despite its faults. The Stand has some of King's highest highs, and not his lowest lows, but they're still low. It doesn't beat the sewer scene in It doesn't beat the handgun scene in the first Dark Tower book, and it does not beat his banned novella he wrote when he was 17. King is still my favorite author, but favorite does not mean perfect. Until next time, everyone wash your hands, wear a mask, social distance how you can. Take care.